Hello guys, myself Jitesh, and today we will proceed from the Kafka examples. As my last video I told you regarding the producer of Kafka, I told you what is the Kafka, and I tell you, I shown you one producer example in IntelliJ, a simple method. Okay, so today we will go ahead with the consumer point of view. Okay, so we will show you the consumer example in the RESTful application Spring Boot. So okay, we are using Spring Boot 3.3. Okay, so let's tell you. In the last time, what we did, basically we created a producer, and in the producer we send two message into the topic, but we have not created partition. Okay, so by default partition it is created. So as I shown you in the offset explorer, this topic I created. In the partition you can see this is the 0 partition. Okay, so this is the first partition I showed you, and we send the data sum I showed you. So these data we send it. Okay, so today I will show you the consumer part of it. Is let's come to the IDE level. Okay, so in the consumer, same project I used for the producer and consumer. If you want, you can create another uh, Spring Boot project like Kafka consumer example and import the dependencies, basically Kafka dependency and web dependency, and create a simple service class. This is publisher class I created last time. Today I created a simple service class, that is a Kafka consumer. This is a normal class, but I import one thing, that is @Kafka listener. So in the Kafka listener I pass the topic. Last time we created the topic na, and we create a method with the message we are passing into the topic. So string we are passing last time, so string we get from the topic also. Okay, so this is new thing. Basically what it is, group id, we are passing group id. Okay, so first of all I am showing you, if we not pass the group id, then what will happen. Let's see. I remove group ID from here, and also we need to configure the, as we configure the producer bootstrap server, same way we need to configure consumer bootstrap server. So consumer bootstrap server we need to configure plus group ID. For the time being I am deleting this one. Okay, so now I am restarting. Let's see what I changed. I did here in the application.yml configuration file, I added this consumer bootstrap server, and also I created one service class, that is Kafka consumer, and in the Kafka consumer I created one method. On the top of the method I import one Kafka listener annotation. In the Kafka listener annotation we need to pass the topic. Okay, so I started the application, but we face one issue, like it's saying no group ID found in the consumer config container properties. What it is, consumer group ID, what it is group ID. So let's come into the picture. Okay, so picture is this. Here you see it here, producer we are sending the topic. By default it create a one partition, that is partition 0. This partition it is created, but if you consume it, what it is asking, no group ID found. Basically it's demand group ID. Without group ID it will not consume any message. What is group ID? Let's suppose right now partition is 0, but in the future, in the next video we will create multi partition. So partition 0, this is partition 0, this is partition 1, this is partition 2. So consumer says please create a group ID consumer, otherwise we will not send a message to you. Why? Because partition send two message to group ID, and group ID partitions send message to group ID, and under group ID we have a instances of consume methods. So these are the consumers. methods. Okay, consumer methods. So if we cannot create group ID, it will not attached with the partition. So by default there is a 0 partition. If we configure, let's suppose we configure 3 partitions, so it will create 0 1 2. Then consumer can get message like this one consumer can get message from any consumer. This can be partition 0, this can be partition 2, this can be partition 3 or C2. Why I created multiple partitions? Let's suppose in future consumer 3 will be down, sometime it will delete it. Then what happen? Whatever the existing consumer object that will replace into consumer 3, that will replace into consumer 3. That is the concept of the group ID. So we need to pass the group ID, and all the consumer is under one group ID, then it will only act as a many to many mapping. Otherwise it will not act many to mapping. It will say, I don't have group ID, please assign me group ID first. Okay, so we need a group ID. That's why I want to show you why this error occurred. So it's saying no group ID found in consumer config. So how I configure consumer config? First of all, we need to configure here under consumer. After the bootstrap group ID, we need to pass the group ID. So any group ID XYZ you can pass it here, and same XYZ you need to pass under consumer here also. And topics and then comma group ID, this same group ID we need to pass. Just Control S, save it and rerun it. Then what will happen? It will execute. Okay, so once it is executed, I will show you in Offset Explorer also. Okay, so now this is running. In the consumer, I created method and I printed our message. It is consumed or not. So this is the consume message and message. So this is printed in console. Let's hit one message into producer. So this is my message. Hello, Jitesh Tag Guru, please subscribe. Something. Okay, please please subscribe. I just sent. Okay, so now my message sent successfully into topic. Under topic, this partition 0. Okay, so here our message is printed like consume the message. Hello, Jitesh Tag Group, please subscribe. Okay, so let's see into the Offset Explorer. This is the previous value. Let's run it again. Now this is the current value, fourth value it is coming. I put it, and if you want to consumer, so let's see consumer also. So previous is 4 messages. Now how many messages consumed? Now it's 5 messages consumed. Okay, so this is the consumer example. Okay, I hope you got this point and easy to understand. Okay, we will show the how we create multiple topics and how we create consumer instances methods, okay, in the next video. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like, please share, subscribe it, and comment it if you want anything. Thank you.